and Vi was the first high school class. They've been with me 3 years. It's a rarity, but I appreciate them, and I know that they're going to do big things. But I'm excited about this season. We have one goal. We want to make the NCAA tournament. You need short-term goals along the way, but we want to make the tournament, and that's our goal. And that's what we're working for each and every day.
Coach, thank you. Questions from the room? When we have one, please identify yourselves, the agency that you are with. And Coach, your first question is going to come to the right side, fifth row or so towards the air wall. First two questions, those two gentlemen right there.
Richton Cunningham, Fox Sports Radio, Charlotte. Coach Stoudemire, you obviously had a successful career at Arizona and your successful NBA career. Have you showed any of your tape from the 54-point performance with the Blazers or the 45-point performance with Arizona? You showed them that you used to give guys the business back in the day?
So I'm not going to say which actually it might have been both of them. So these guys just had a retro jersey room in the back, and they put up a number 34 for the Boston Celtics, and they both thought it was Shaq, but Shaq was 33 with Boston when he was there. So I say that to say this: although that wasn't Shaq's prime years, these guys have no clue. What I will say though, and they'll tell you this: I never talk about what I did as a player, because I wanted to show them that I cared about them, and I knew eventually that they would go back and start to watch film. And both of these guys have done it, and they always be like, "Coach, you don't ever talk about this stuff." I'll be like, "It was a long time ago." But they know, and I think that's the beauty of it. The beauty of being a coach now is that I've sat in those chairs, and I got experiences that they're going through, and I think I try to share those experiences in different ways. It's not necessarily talking about myself, but I will talk to these guys about those times. But what I do a lot of the time is I just give them those moments and let them think about whatever that moment entailed, and then they'll come back and talk about it.
Coach, the next question just to his left, so we'll stay to your right side there.
Yes, Coach, QCB, Fox Sports Radio, Charlotte. I like when I see guys that I grew up watching, like you and Penny Hardaway and Stackhouse and Hubert Davis, and you come back and go coach in college and give them the game you guys know and get to the younger generation coming up. I think that's awesome, a thing to do for the basketball community and making them great men as well. My question is two-parter real quick. The freshmen you was talking about, will they have an immediate impact with your team? And if you played in the NBA today, how many points would you average?
I think that we have a couple of the freshmen that have impact from day one. I think that both of these guys would say that Mohamed Sela is, to me, will be one of the best, freshmen in the country. I think that he runs like a gazelle. He gets up and down. He's really strong. He can rebound. He can block shots. And probably the only reason he wasn't, in the McDonald's games and the hoop summits and all these different things is because he got over here so late. So he's barely been in the States for a year. And I'm looking forward to him having an impact on our team. But just the collective energy that freshmen have, and I remember when I was in college, we brought in 5 freshmen. It's just the energy that they bring each and every day, and they compete, and that's what I love about that group. And I assume that when you asked me that question about how many points I would average today, you're asking if I was 21 or 22-year-old Damon Stoudemire and not 52-year-old Damon Stoudemire. So if and I never even try to talk about, what it would be, but I would say this: you can't touch anybody. You shoot a lot of threes, and a lot of the stuff they were telling me, that's what I was doing back then when they told me don't do it. And I think my rookie year, I averaged 19 and 9. My second year was 20 and 8. Third year was like 17-8, 17-7, you know, so I'll be 20-10. I'd be 20-10. I don't think that would be out of the question.
Coach, your last question, and we're just as curious as you are. Left side, about the 5th row, towards the back.
Cam Lemons, 24/7 Sports. Coach, a couple hours ago, Jim Phillips came up here and talked about how important it was to get back to where the ACC wants to be. Georgia Tech has obviously had a decent slice of the storied history of the ACC, but what's Georgia Tech's role in getting back to where the ACC wants to be, and what's the plan to get back there for you specifically?
Well, I think we're a big part of the plan. I think we have a great institution, and I think that we're in a great city, and we're not that far away. You know, in 2 years we've gotten better. Last year was so crazy to do what we did with essentially 6 players. You know, that's what makes this coming year so exciting. And I think that, you know, not only our program but collectively as a conference, if we can win 85 to 90% of the non-conference games, I think that changes the perception. You know, I think what happens is that perception turns to reality for a lot of people because they don't watch TV. So you only gain momentum when people watch TV. So if you don't win early, then you don't gain momentum. When you win early, you gain momentum. And I think that just helps the conference.
Coach, thank you. You can switch spots with Bai. Bai will spend a few minutes with you. Folks, once again, if you would identify yourselves and the outlet you are with, and we will spend a few minutes with our student athletes. So Bai, your first question will come, just call the center row up to the left, about the 4th row.
Kelly Quinlan, Jackets Online. What is it like now having more big men to play with and being able to not have to play that 5 all the time on the court for them? How's that adjustment been for you?
I mean,
You can pull the microphone up too if you like.
sorry.
No, you're good, thank you.
I mean, it's been great so far because, having the players like we do this year, a lot of freshmen coming up and a lot of guys that come from the transfer portal. It feels good. It feels good to have some players that actually can really play, actually really good, especially that they're gonna help us this year a lot with everything. So I just gotta be getting better and trying to help my team with everything that I could, and let the freshmen do what they gotta do, and I do what I gotta do, everybody do what they gotta do, and feel like we can be better.
All right, thank you. Next question to your right side about the 4th row.
Randy Waters, Georgia Tech Radio. Last year was obviously physically very taxing for you. But as you look back, is it possibly a positive moving forward because you found out what your limits, or maybe you were somewhat limitless in what you were able to do physically and hang in there with all those minutes?
Last year it was kind of different because all the injuries we had, and how we started the season, we started kind of slow. And I feel like this year would be different because we have a lot of players that are coming in ready to play, ready to make an impact right away. So I would say that you just gotta do your best, and we got a bench, and I feel like he said, on the practice he would use everybody if he can. So I feel like I just gotta do what I gotta do, and just let the rest of the guys take care of what they gotta do.
By your last question from here at the podium, last year 24 blocked shots. Obviously your size gives you the advantage for blocking shots, but what is it about your eye, being able to track to the ball, that allows you to be such a good shot blocker?
I honestly don't really know. I just be out there just playing hard as I can and just trying to help my team. It's not something that I'm looking to do every time. It's not something that I'm looking not to do every time. I'm just out there playing the game. How can I help my team win every time? So, yeah.
I appreciate that. You can switch spots if you like with Kwesi, and we'll spend a few minutes with him, and then we will exit them out to our breakout room right next door, where they'll spend about 30 minutes after here. So for Kwesi, questions from the room. We'll go back to the center aisle. Just follow the center up and to the left.
Kelly Quinlan, Jackets Online. Wasey, What was it like last year to get shut down early in the season and to have to watch for the year and then make the decision to come back as a redshirt medical?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I never had a season-ending injury in my life ever. It was definitely some triumph there, some perseverance there. I give a lot of credit to, like I said before, the institution, the program, and coach, because they just have an unwavering commitment to us as players. So my support system was super strong. So physically and mentally, I was well kept, and I was always reassured that, in whatever I decided to do, that I was going to have full support.
So, Kwesi, a follow-up from the podium along those lines. What did you learn about yourself during that process of being injured?
It was a real humbling experience. I learned a lot about humility. I learned a lot about manhood. I learned a lot about just, again, I learned a lot about the humanization factor of basketball. And I test a lot of that by watching Coach lead by example. You have to come in and may not be feeling the best, but you still are preparing for rehab. You still have to try to have an impact on the guys in a certain way, even if vocally it may not be hitting in depth as you want it to be because you're not physically there with them. I just accepted that fact, and I think it helped me just displaying humility and realizing that, what I have in store in my head may not always be materialized in my reality, but what I can control is my approach and my mentality.
That's really good. Thank you for that. Your last question will be left side, about 5th row, maybe 6th row.
Cam Lemons, 24/7 Sports. Coy, so we always ask this of the coach's side, but what's it like when you have roster turnover like teams do nowadays? 5 guys come out, 4 guys transfer in, high schoolers come in. What's that like from a player's perspective? And as someone that's brought up here as a leader, what's your role in kind of making sure those transitions happen kind of as smoothly as possible?
Coach has a saying. He says when you meet in the circle at the end of practice, he said this circle will never be the same again the next year. Players going to go to the next level. Some guys are going to leave, and that's just the reality of the business. So for me, and what I've learned and how I understand and perceive it is that as the older guy, I'm the oldest on the team now, you just have to have a real mature approach into letting guys really understand in depth the seriousness of the situation. Like it's a time and place for everything, and I think this group does a good job of knowing a time and place for everything. And I think this group does a good job of knowing that this circle will not be the same next year. And giving and knowing that you don't have the amount of time that you think you have, I think gives everybody the feeling of urgency. I think gives everybody the feelings of camaraderie and togetherness for the time being, to have a deep gratitude for that.
Kwesi, thank you very much. Georgia Tech, good luck this season. Folks, Pitt is doing